Welcome to Ask Ms. ERP. The topic of this video is Big Bang or phased implementation. Hello everyone, Ms. ERP here. One of the age-old questions of large system projects, particularly new implementations, is whether to go live with everything at once, in other words, do a big bang, or to implement in stages with a phased implementation. As with all things, there are pros and cons of both. First, just to be clear on what I mean by a big bang, this typically means all users with all functionality going live at the same time on the new system. A phased implementation means to break this down into manageable chunks, either by groups of users, perhaps geographically, or by functionality. For example, implement financials first and follow up with supply chain or asset management later. Why this is such a tough question for companies is the complex integrated nature of ERPs or other large enterprise systems. It is actually easier to do a big bang go live, but this may not be an acceptable risk for your company. In theory, a big bang approach will be cheaper, as it should be a shorter implementation time and therefore a faster return on investment. You will likely have to prepare for some disruption to operations, in which productivity temporarily decreases as users adapt to the new system after go-live. If you do decide to go the big bang route, make sure you test your production cutover multiple times. You will also need to ensure that your old system is available to return to if things go wrong. You will only have a very short window in which to back out, because the moment transactions are happening in your new system, your old system is out of date. As part of your backup plan, you will need to determine the best method to be able to return to your old system. Should you do dual entry, which is really a variation of a phased approach, as you are in effect running two systems in parallel. This can be very inefficient and tends to lead to data entry problems. Or will you be able to identify all new and change records in the new system to be able to replicate them in the old system if you need to back out?
Oh no!
Oops.
You will also need to define some very clear and specific criteria as to how to make the decision to execute on your backup plan before you get there, so that decision-making in this area is made as prescriptive as possible. I have done a few of these complex Big Bang go-lives, and in each case, it was deemed more productive to fix the issue in the new system and move forward. But in reality, this might not be your situation, and everyone will be very stressed at the time, so you need your reasons to return to the old system to be very clear to all. A phased implementation is superficially less risky, but you will need to consider what your interim situation will look like and how it will be supported. It is somewhat similar to working out your backup plan, as I just mentioned, because you are going to need to synchronize both old and new systems somehow if you have portions of your company running on two, or possibly more, systems. This can become very complicated and therefore more costly, which is why most companies tend towards the Big Bang approach if possible. If you are phasing by geography, how can you produce consolidated results if you are running two systems? You should really only have one set of financials regardless of the source. Perhaps some of these geographies are new acquisitions or separate divisions, which might lend themselves to naturally being a later implementation. They are likely sending summary transactions to you already that could be entered into your new system as an interim measure. One advantage of the phased approach is that skills and experience are gained with each phase, which can help smooth out the implementation process as you move through your project. If you are phasing your implementation by functionality, similar challenges will arise due to data interdependencies. Typically, it is recommended that you start with financials, ensuring that the chart of accounts is complete and robust for all types of reporting, both corporate and operational. If you are performing your supply chain activities elsewhere in the interim, How will that system stay aligned with your new financial system? Which system is the source of truth for what data? How are they synced? At a summary or a detail level? A phased approach usually takes longer, and a state of continuous change can sometimes be very disruptive, but the right go-live path will depend on your individual situation. The greatest impact of a phased implementation is usually to your integrated systems. How will integrations work in the interim state? Will sending and receiving transactions happen from both systems? How will you reconcile that situation to ensure that nothing is either being missed or double counted? Which system should be the source of truth for master data, like chart of accounts, supplier and customer masters? These are all challenges of a phased implementation that will need to be worked out before you get too far down the road. In summary, a big bang go live versus a phased implementation is somewhat like comparing ripping off a Band-Aid versus eating an elephant one bite at a time. I hope that the points that I have made will help you decide what type of implementation will work best at your company. This concludes the Big Bang or phased implementation topic. I have a number of ideas for topics for Ask Ms. ERP, but I'm also hoping that you will post questions that I could help answer. There is a link on askmserp.com to email me to ask questions or suggest topics for future videos. Or you can just add comments on any YouTube video. Please subscribe to my channel, and if you would like to receive notifications of new Ask Ms. ERP videos, please update your YouTube settings as shown. Thanks, and see you on the next video.